So here's the scenario. Christmas is over, you've eaten too much, you've drank way too much, and what's worse, you haven't been on your bike for a week. Well, don't worry, we've got you covered. Welcome to yet another show of Old Man in Lycra. And if you haven't seen it already, this is the show where we cater for the more mature mountain biker. Yep, I'm afraid you won't see any of this or this. You might see some of this, but what you will get is expert tips and advice on all aspects of mountain biking. I've come out to a quiet little road where I live to work on my skills because I want to be like Harry. Harry's my hero. He can do everything. Bastard. But before you do this, you've got to do this. It's Bike Skills 101. So where do we start?
Right, so let's have a look at your bike. It's 100 millimeters of suspension travel, front and back, which is more of a cross-country marathon type of bike. It's probably not ideal for what you want to do. So just to compare our two bikes and to point out the differences in the experience that these bikes give you. This bike has got a slightly slacker geometry, so the front fork is at a slightly slacker angle. The slacker the fork angle, the more capable it is downhill, because it lengthens the wheelbase and it gives you more confidence going down technical terrain. Nice big volume tires with nice knobs, nice soft rubber to grip. Gives you a lot of confidence, especially on the front wheel. And the rear wheel, you can get away with slightly less tread and a slightly skinnier tire, but bigger tires are always better. And it's got 130 millimeters of suspension travel versus 100 mils. So it's got more give in the front, and also at the back it's got 120 mils versus 100 on your bike. So generally, a bike with about 120 mils of travel front and back, or 130, 120, with a slightly slacker than race geometry and a dropper seat post. That's pretty much all you need for any type of mountain biking. Your suspension must be set up so that it damps vibrations and it doesn't bounce you off obstacles when it gets an impact. So you can set the rebound speed, the speed that the suspension comes back at you. So it's very important to set the rebound on the rear especially to slightly slower than the front, so that the back is rebounding slightly slow. When you're going downhill, the front end stays up and the back doesn't kick you forward. So once you've got your suspension set up, suited to your weight and riding style, and it's got a base setting which is safe and controlled, then you've got to look at your cockpit. Are you comfortable and in control of the bike? Critical things about the cockpit are lever reach and lever position. So the lever should be in a position where your finger is in a relaxed state in the notch of the brake lever to give you most power when braking. So when you're going down the trail, you don't have to be tense and reaching with your fingers. If they're close enough where you can be in a comfortable, relaxed position and you can pull them and they're not pulling too far and they're not touching your other fingers or touching the bar. So they've got a short throw and they're set nice and close, then that's perfect. So most brakes have a lever reach adjust, but you've got to adjust them with these little adjust knobs. Some of the brakes have a tool adjust there. Brakes are safety. People say the faster you go, the less you brake, but it's actually not true. The faster you go, you want to have better brakes. The shifter must be in a position where you can reach them, but it mustn't be aggravating you. It mustn't be like that, where it's touching you, causing you discomfort when you're riding. That's good. When you're braking a lot on a long descent, your hands start getting tired. The closer your fingers are to the bar when you're braking, the more power you have. If you're braking with your finger all the way out there, you're putting a lot of strain on this part of your hand. So you can get more hand fatigue when the levers are far out like that, versus when they're here.
So Harry, thanks. That's a lot of basic information around the setup, but what's the most fundamental thing to learn when you're actually riding the bike?
Yeah, when you've got your bike set up, suspension, cockpit, it's the right bike for you, ready to go on the trail, you've got to be balanced on your bike. You can't be nervous and doing the wrong thing with your body. You've got to be leaning slightly more forward biased, centered over the bike, to have control over the front wheel, and that'll give you confidence. Thanks, Harry. We'll be starting off with that balanced body position the next time we catch up with him. There is an excellent extended version of this session on our Extra Stuff playlist. Head over and check that out.
And next week we'll be catching up with Gary for the first time, and he's all about keeping us fit, strong and injury free when we're out on the bike. See you on Thursday.